Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode here of the Fatboy FadeAway podcast. Got Casey back this week. Casey, how you doing?
Doing fabulous, man. Can't wait to get this thing rocking and rolling.
Tyler?
A rockin' and a rollin', rockin'
Ready
and
to
a
do this
rollin'.
another Saturday morning?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
I'm liking the early podcast. It gives a good chance to look at the week, what's going on. Got a lot of sports. The one thing with this week, I got to say, I was a little disappointed early on with the MLB stuff. That kind of really disappointed me early on in the week. Just to kind of it was a bummer because it was kind of great to have it back. Just kind of 3 days.
No, it's still here. It's still here.
It is.
You can hope for the best.
But it was a little bit of it just was a little bit of a downer at the beginning of the week when that happened, right? So just a little bit of that. So that kind of was a little bit frustrating. But I got to say, going into this weekend, it is nice for the first time since March 19th to have MLB, NBA, and a few, and obviously some of the other sports
NHL's
back, like golf, NHL,
NASCAR.
Yeah, NASCAR. I'm back in it, so. So yeah, it's at least from that standpoint, I could finally take this weekend and chill a little bit. So disappointing early on, at least a better week at the end. How did you guys see it?
Baseball was frustrating, especially for my fantasy team. Gary Sanchez had some games canceled, and Jack Flaherty missed a start. But I saw this coming. We talked about it last podcast. This isn't going to end good, I don't think.
Well, Tyler, you were first on the traveling a little bit. Casey talked about that last week, was the MLB and the traveling and how the NBA is doing this bubble thing. So they're a little bit more obviously isolated. And it just seems like MLB's, going to probably have issues going forward unless the players just can isolate themselves well, in the traveling aspect.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the players' union is the strongest, but it's just, it's kind of frustrating because it's like they have a privilege to play this game. But at the same time, I understand them not wanting to be away from their family for 6 months. And there's a difference between the NBA and –
But they're not doing that.
No, I'm saying there's a difference, though, between these three sports is Major League Baseball is starting their season and these other sports are ending their seasons. So
yeah, but what does that have to do with what we were saying? Because what I mean by
bubbling.
The MLB, the MLB's traveling. So they're going, when you travel, your chances of picking up the coronavirus are going to be greater. So they've already had 29 positive tests between players and between coaches. The NBA has had 0 and with 346. The NHL has had, I think they've had 0 since they've been in this bubble.
And they've done thousands of tests.
Yeah. So it's that's the thing that MLB is risking by traveling a little bit is that thing. So I'm curious to see, how do you think the traveling part of it's going to affect MLB with these next 2 months? Are they going to be able to get through 2 months of baseball?
No, it's excellent. It's exponentially greater than what they're doing. But I'm saying the players, they voted and they said no, they didn't want to do that because they didn't want to be a part of away from their families. And I'm not saying that it's the right decision because obviously 2020 hindsight, it's not, because you played a weekend of baseball and you came back with over 20 positive tests. But I'm just saying.
You're only canceling series.
Yeah, I'm exactly. I'm not agreeing.
You only had 6 days.
I'm just saying that they're starting their season, so it's harder. But I don't think that they necessarily took it as seriously. And I don't mean the players. I mean the ownership and the Rob Manfred. They didn't realize, when you're traveling, they're not just traveling with players and coaches. You got stewardess, flight, everything, hotels. And like you said, with the NBA bubble and the NHL, you're just locked in with those probably, I would say, 600 people. Opposed to
you're definitely taking a few more chances in the MLB.
I mean,
with
you
that
still
traveling.
have hotel staff and stuff in the bubble,
but they're all quarantined.
Yeah, I think at the NBA they're the thing with the MLB. I think you have to be realistic too. Is there's just no faith in the leadership. So the NBA is going to be a little stricter with the rules. There's a little bit more respect to follow the rules. The MLB is just, when you travel like that, you're going to have guys going to restaurants, and this is probably what's going to happen a little bit. So right now we got the Phillies with 2 positive tests. The Cardinals came out yesterday with 2 positive tests. Tyler, I believe their whole weekend series is canceled, right, against the Brewers, I believe. and then the Marlins are up to 20 now. So they're like,
but that's not all players.
No, it's not all players,
Yeah.
but I think
It's
16 of them or 17.
Yeah.
I think it's up to 17 now are players of the 20.
But I mean,
So,
they're hanging out with each other, so it might have been one guy who fudged up.
No, that's probably what it was. And to be honest with you, I think, I mean, most of these guys all these guys are gonna probably survive off this thing for the most part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they're
hopefully.
in good shape.
So the thing is, like, when they get back, the baseball, though, the problem they're gonna have is they don't have very many days to play with. So let's get past the virus part of it for a second. Even if they keep missing games, the reason they're going to have to cancel it now is they're just not going to have enough time to A, make up the games, and B, they're going to have minor B teams or, double A, triple A teams out there if you just keep losing guys over and over again, and you're going to have guys drop out. So baseball's got an issue.
That's why I was going to interject, though, because the Marlins had 3 positive tests before they played their first game, and then they said, yeah, we'll play it.
Yeah, what a dumb move.
Exactly, and that just shows that's the difference between, speaking about earlier with the ownership and the leadership. Adam Silver got 1 positive test. One, and said the league's over. They got 3, and they're like, yeah, let's just play it. Now they're up to, like, almost 30.
I know you would think, like, all right, any positive test, we're calling the MLB and the unions thing, and we're letting it know right there and then. Not, oh, we had a team meeting and we decided to play. It's like, what? That just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's like you're leaving it up to the players to vote because they found out you had 3 people with positive. That right there. That is just. I think that kind of sums it up right there in terms of the overall issues MLB has and the fan kind of like not faith factor in them over NBA a little bit. So
it's straight asinine, inhumane. I mean, look at like the NFL.
It's not inhumane.
Yeah, that's a little extreme. But
to let these guys play when you're like, hey, you might die. Hey, but
they chose to play. They voted.
Well, yeah, but we had 3 of them. But there's a. I always say this. So there's a brother or sister.
Well, hold on. You're saying that they talk. You're saying that they taught. You're saying that you don't think they should play, but then now you're saying that they're getting. I'm confused by what you're saying.
I'm saying there's a mother, a brother, a sister, and a dad. One of them's always the decision maker. You can always hear the other person and their opinions, but one's got to be the decision maker.
Let's hope it's not a brother or sister.
No, it don't matter. Whoever's making the most bread or whoever's got the most common sense, you always look out for those closest to you. I don't feel like baseball does that. They're just like, hey, we need to make this money. We already cut it down to 60 games. So you guys better do this whether or not.
You said it about the NBA also earlier. You're like, what Patrick Beverly said, LeBron wants the ball, we're going to ball. Like there's people who have more sway than
no doubt. No,
even in the NBA. It's not like the NBA is just.
No,
I think
it's run much better. Don't get me wrong. It comes down to the traveling. Why don't you just put it in Arizona and Florida? Well, maybe not Florida because Florida's really effed up. So is Arizona. I guess I don't know where you put it, but
NBA is doing it in Orlando.
My thing is, Orlando. Yeah, most teams, like everybody's doing it in Florida, or I think Arizona. They would have had to do it in Arizona and Florida. You couldn't have had all 30.
Yeah, you put the AL or whatever, the spring training teams, and just those are the NL and AL this year.
Exactly, and I think overall, I like the model that MLB had. I just don't think it will be executed very well. And the problem is, I'm not a big virus person, anyways. On this thing, I'm not. I understand it's the real deal, and I get all that stuff, but like. At the same time, I do believe in like people can make their own decisions in some ways as well. So I get it. I'm respectful about it and all that stuff. I know that the league is not going to. I'm kind of in some ways I'm glad the MLB did not overreact. So in some ways I do appreciate their poor management because we actually still have games going on because of it. So thank you MLB for that part of it. I wanted to move on to the actual games though. The Dodgers-Astros series. Did you guys catch any of the moments with Joe Kelly and throwing at him? Yeah. So Kelly throws over Bregman's head.
Behind Bregman's head.
Behind his head, pretty much at his head. Pretty close, not right at it.
Close enough.
Close. And then he throws a slider 87 miles per hour over Correa's head. Correa doesn't take to it very nicely. And then he strikes out Correa, and he kind of gives him that kind of little kid like.
Have you heard the audio like of the?
Yeah, that was hilarious. Oh, and then yes, what was the audio, Tyler? Go ahead.
Like where Kelly's like, "Nice swing, bitch," and Correa's like, "I hit a home run. I jog around the bases. I strike out. I go to the dugout. Just go to the dugout or something." Like,
did you hear Dusty?
Yeah, go back to the mound.
Mother. A little lab effort. That is the one thing I'm liking about the baseball too, is you can hear a lot more of the audio from the players.
At least it gets picked up in like rebroadcasts.
So Kelly suspended 8 games. I think that's way too harsh. And what do you guys think about the whole throwing at him thing?
I mean, a metrics of 162 games, that means he gets suspended. Like, that's 122 games that he gets to play. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it seems a little much to me. It's not a little much.
See, you can't. What if he hits him in the face and he has a seizure and like you can't throw baseballs at people's head. My biggest problem is the Astros didn't get a punishment. That's what makes this punishment too harsh.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
That's what ruined. Like, you giving the Astros nothing, and then you give this guy a third or an eighth of
8-game suspension,
a ninth of the
60-game season. Yeah,
that's what ruins the whole.
Tyler,
to me, I'm a big fan of Dick Wolf in Law and Order, so I'm like, so you admit the punishment, you admit the guilt, but you don't have to do any time as long as you tell the truth. That's BS, man. Like, in life, you got to be punished for your sins. You can't just like go about it like there's no big deal. Of course,
I don't even think they told the whole truth. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you mean by that, Tyler?
The whole like Altuve having probably something on his jersey. That was really suspicious.
Microphone, don't touch my jersey. Don't touch my
he didn't say microphone, but he basically said it.
Yeah, that was kind of an odd celebration. That was for sure. That was the one that kind of stuck out to, I think, everybody.
Don't touch me. Everyone rips off jerseys all the time.
I mean, that's a weird celebration, ripping off jerseys, in my opinion, also.
Yeah, but it's even weirder when the guy's going like this, going home plate. Hey,
don't touch it.
Hey, don't rip it. Don't rip it.
Hey, so Tyler, I was thinking with the Dodgers, was thinking about this thing and the scenario and how they got together and they had their quarantine fight, and I was thinking about how the Astros this season, they're getting so let off the hook in a lot of ways, though, just from like the standpoint of this virus, like
not dealing with the fans.
Other teams would be frustrated as well. They'd be getting probably thrown out a little bit more. You know what I mean? So in a way, the Astros, I'm pretty sure they'd be thrown at more than just the 2 times they've been thrown at so far this year. I think there'd be more teams involved in doing that as well.
But why do you think that?
I think they would throw out more because I think the momentum of the fans coming into a series a little bit. I think some people were on other teams too. Like, there'd be a lot of players, like Joe Kelly, for example. For some reason, he threw at him, and he wasn't even on the team, right? You know, those guys.
He was on Boston, though, and they lost.
Was on Boston,
and they lost to him in the playoffs.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
so I mean, he has.
Hey, did you guys?
People always bring up that he didn't play on the Dodgers, but
I guess if you wear that uniform, that's your team, though. I guess.
Hey, did you guys hear the A's? Were you watching the Rocky series at all?
No, a little bit. I mean, I know what happened.
No, excuse me. The first series against the Angels.
Yeah.
Did you watch any of that? Mm-hmm. So Ray Fosse sends the first zinger, and he goes, it's almost like Mark Cannon knew what was coming. He goes, well, at least there was no begging of the trash can.
I'm sure there'll be a few of those during the year. The announcers on a few of those.
Glenn Kuiper just goes, he pauses, just busts out laughing. He's like, oh, man, that's the first one of the year.
I do miss that part of that with the Astros, though.
Every year, but he's like, they literally knew what was coming. Because, you know, like, when Barry Bonds would take a pitch or whatever, you know, you're like, he knew it was coming. But he's like, there's no begging going on. I was like, Glenn Kuiper just paused, bust out laughing. He's like, Ray, Ray, like, ease up, bro.
Yeah, I'm sure if you're an old school player too, you're probably not enjoying the Astros getting a little bit let off the hook. But I'm sure in due time, Bregman and Altuve will get their punishment. If I were them, I would just take it, man. I mean, you got a World Series off of it. Just realize it's coming at you.
Well, it started with
why is
Correa.
it?
It was Correa telling them to shut the F up if you don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
so if you're saying something like that, I think more people are even gonna, get ticked off about it. So, but they want to hold their ground on it, and that's just
Bregman handled himself well. He didn't even look at Kelly after it happened.
Yeah, I didn't think he did anything wrong. He kind of did what he kind of handled it well. Kind of knew he probably had some of that coming.
All right. 3-0 pitch, down 3 in the 7th. This is the time I'm going to get hit.
Yeah, I did have a little bit more respect for him for kind of taking it like that as well. I kind of wanted to kind of move on here on a little bit more. It's just a couple things I kind of wanted to point out from the week. They've changed the extra inning rule to 7-inning double headers. That'll be kind of interesting to see how that plays out. So whenever there will be a double header, there are going to be 7-inning games, not 9-inning games.
What is it, senior A's?
That's what they're getting, senior A's. Back in the old days. I also wanted to say the A's, man, they suck right now. Their hitting is horrible right now. They go in stretches like this, and it's unbelievable. They are home run or bust so bad. They're just frustrating the heck out of me offensively. Chris Davis doesn't even have a hit. Doesn't even have a hit all year. And every time he's up, I mean, the problem with him is, how did he hit 48 home runs when he swings and misses so much? It's like crazy. I mean,
2 days in a row, he was over 40.
I know. It's just crazy to think he has when he's up and there's a runner on third base and less than 2 outs, I'm like, dang it. I never wanted him up in a situation like that. Ever.
He was funny though. Like
he was.
It's a mental block. I swear it's mental with him, because every time I see him, I'm like, they figured it out though. Just throw sliders away.
Yeah, but he's even at the point where he can't even hit fastballs anymore. I mean, he's way behind on fastballs.
But
now.
he goes through stretches like this. It's not like this is the first bad stretch he's ever gone.
No, what do you have the record? 5 years of batting .247 every year or something like that?
Yeah.
That's like his record. Crazy.
But he had 40-plus home runs in those years.
Not all those years.
Not all
he had
5.
2. He had it in 2 years with the A's. With the Brewers.
No, he might have had one with the Brewers, too.
No, he didn't have one with the Brewers, but he did have some 20-plus seasons with the Brewers. But he struck out always a ton.
I know every year he hit 247. I want to say he hit 40 homers.
Not with
maybe
the
with the A's.
Yeah, with the A's.
Yeah, he wasn't even a full-time player yet on the Brewers. No. He was only playing against lefties when he was with them. That's why he never was getting the home run totals that he was with the A's. And the playing time the A's did. He's frustrating me a little bit. The other thing with the A's that their pitching right now is not doing very well. Their starters are off
what's
to
the A's
a horrible
record
start.
right now?
They're 3-4, but their pitching is really worrisome. And their offense, I feel like, is kind of like this anyways. They pretty much are home run or bust a lot. So they go in stretches like last year. But their pitching needs to be good, and right now it's not good. So they're off to a bad start right now. So I feel they can start to pick it up.
I feel like this is the year. Remember when they had Gil Heredia? I feel like this is this type of year.
That's just way back, 2000.
He was on the Zito teams, right?
Yeah, he was like way back. I think he was even before Zito, maybe.
I think he was before him, but they didn't.
I want to say 99.
I don't think.
I'm going to say the A's pitching's better than the Gil Heredia area. That's all I'm going to say. It's much better than that.
I think he was their number one starter one year.
I mean, Luzardo's better than anybody.
Playoffs.
Luzardo's the guy they got to start.
Oh, you're comparing then to now. Yeah, absolutely.
Until they start pitching him more, they're not going to really go off. He's got to be with it. He's their best pitcher. Until he throws like games, which might be next year.
Oh, Luzardo.
When he starts pitching, that's when the rotation will get good. He's going to be a top 5 pitcher in the American League easily his first 3 years. His stuff is nasty. You just can see it. It's really good. Giants, Tyler, 4-4, off to more of a surprising sport.
They won yesterday, so if they lost yesterday, I'd be like, here we go. But they won, so I'm like, all right, I guess keep the faith alive.
Now you texted me the other day that you thought Yaz is in the Justin Turner, Corey
No,
Seager
not
field.
yet. Not yet. Calm down.
Or you
I
said
didn't
you
say
thought-
that. I said hopefully he
Hopefully.
could be. He seems like he's a player. He hit 21 jacks last year in like 3/4 of a season, which is.
Let me give you a stat to back you up on him. Just then I'll let you keep going on. In 400 at bats in Giants, like so players that have started their career with the Giants, from the minor league system, so not like a Barry Bonds that got traded there.
Yeah.
And 400 at bats, he's got like 24 home runs. I think the most in Giants history is like 20, or he had 23. I think the two most in history are 26 and 24, like McCovey and Cepeda. So he's on that level of production to basically start his Giants career. So
I'm not going to go there. He's
player.
also 28 years old.
It just shows
he's got a late start.
Yeah,
he seems like he could be on the Giants for 7 years and be productive. Not an all-star or anything, just maybe 1 year or something.
Well, Justin Turner is an all-star.
No.
Case, have you seen much of
his
the Yaz
lineup's
guy?
loaded.
He's got a pretty cool swing. He's got like a nice uppercut.
He's related to Carl. People forget that, I
don't know if anyone forgets
If
that.
you
that
forget
name's
that,
pretty.
you're an idiot. Because it's like, Shrimsky.
Well, you guys didn't bring it up, so I thought I'd bring it up.
Well, you can bring it up, but you don't have to say people forget it.
Well, you two did.
He's his great-grandfather or grandfather.
So, Casey, what do you think? What do you think of him?
I think he's a. I mean, baseball is different, man. It's not like basketball. I think you're still in your prime at 37. I mean,
I'm not gonna say 37 on roids, yes, but not on the roid era. 37.
No, what do you mean? Look at Nelson Cruz. He's killing it.
I feel like he's the exception.
Yeah, name another guy.
I feel like most guys. I feel like in baseball, though, you're right. The prime is later. Like, he's
sure.
29, and he's like, you could still say he's probably gonna be good till 34 at least. Like, probably pretty good, solid. But like Turner's 35.
I stretch it till 36 because if you don't bang your body, especially if you're an infielder
or DH, huh?
Or DH. I mean, if you're playing center field, outfield, you're more likely to bang yourself into a wall or to freak things happen. Even the corner positions from time to time, chasing after a foul ball. I forget who it was years ago. It was Brandon Belt, I believe, but he was chasing after a ball. I could be wrong, but he tripped over the mound and was never the same.
Was that Belt? Belt, I feel, has never been the same since his career.
Well,
I feel he's never been the same.
The baby giraffe was pretty decent.
I think I do remember that play you were saying that. I do kind of remember that vaguely. It actually happening there. Tyler, the other thing I wanted to get your thought on the Giants is this Solano guy. He's off to like a ridiculous start.
I ripped him earlier for getting 10 hit, but he's Donovan Solano. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, will he have maybe is he our 60-game MVP we were talking about possibly in the
There's no chance
season?
Any Giant is the MVP of this league.
What about Robbie Grossman?
Who?
Bobby Grossman. I would say he won't get enough at bats.
He's hitting over. He's like hitting 425 or 435. I forget what it is.
Yeah, but Bob won't play him against lefties enough, probably. Or righties enough. I mean.
Every game.
Well, just switch it, all right. I know, but Bob likes to do his little matchups with stuff. You know how he is with how Billy Bean calls down and says, "But you got to get this guy." No, I'm just kidding. Another thing with the Giants.
But are you kidding?
Did you catch the Gabe Kapler thing with Rogers?
With
Tyler Rogers, their pitcher?
No.
So against the Padres the other day, they went into extra innings, and the catcher went out to go to the mound. So that's a mound visit now. So he went out, and then he went out to just go out and say something to Rogers like on the next pitch, and then he needed to take him out after the next batter, but he couldn't do it for the rest of the inning, and they ended up giving up like 6 runs in the game. And he's like, oh, that was
the extra inning game.
Yeah, he's like, that was a mental mistake on my part, and I was just like, yeah. And then I looked it up. He had a history. He did that his very first series with the Phillies when he coached. He did the very same thing. So I don't know. He's got an issue with that. He's got.
I remember.
So I found that interesting.
I remember when Bochy did that to Don Mattingly.
Oh yeah, that was great. That was great.
He went to the mound. He left the mound by like 1 step and went back on the mound. And they're like, nope, you got to take him out. Because
These both got the dumbest rules.
They're very at times.
it's
very,
like golf at times.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah.
So
Or,
dumb.
Yeah, so Matt only come off the mound there, so I decided to. Yeah,
I think it was Brad Ziegler when they gave the option to drive the cart in, and he took it. I was like, yeah, just speed the game up. Don't give that slow walk. Just golf cart them in if they're gonna play this slow.
I know. Hey, the golf cart. Do they still have that available? Have they had that last year available? Remember that people could use the golf cart if they wanted to. So last year they allowed to speed up the game. They allowed golf carts from the bullpen if you wanted it, and so like there was only like a handful of guys that used it, but it was hilarious to watch. I gotta admit, a couple of them, like the Diamondbacks, like have a golf cart with a big Diamondbacks helmet on it, and the guy comes into the mound. I don't know.
It wasn't kind of
funny. Yeah, I think it was. They used to do it all the time in like the '80s. They used to always use the golf cart. Yeah, that's why it's a thing.
Our video game for Nintendo, Bases Loaded. That's what they would do.
Could you imagine? Maybe the grounds crews like.
And the best player was named Deborah.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah,
I feel like Heath Bell would have felt like he was in heaven pitching in this air or back.
Yeah, exactly. Rivera's the one that needed it. He had the slowest walk.
He jogged.
He did. Well, he walked for a few steps there. I thought. No, you're right. He did jog. He would go about halfway and then start jogging.
They got to do like the Angels in the outfield, like the guy from a guy was Sherlock Holmes, where he runs in and slides on the mound.
Yeah, just do it fast, something like that. Oh, that part was great.
Who?
There was a couple. Who was the last player that did that? Yeah. He would come in and slide.
The penis guy.
Yeah. Yes. Hey, who was the player that did that though? He had like was it like Mike Fredders or something? Like I feel like there was some guy that
Mike Fredders used to go.
Yeah, that's who it is. Okay, that's what it was. And you actually did pretty good with the beer, to be honest.
Have you seen Daniel Mangin?
Let's hear that again. That was actually
No, we're not doing it again.
Do it again.
No, we're not doing it again.
That was good though.
Have you guys seen Daniel Mangin's mustache?
Who?
Daniel Mangin?
Yeah. You could hang a coat hanger on there.
He's got the curl. It reminds me funny. I'm like, Dustin Hoffman, Captain Hook, is pitching for the A's.
He'd be happy on that one. Well, gentlemen, MLB, I am. I don't know what to feel. I'm a little nervous, to be honest with you, because it's my favorite sport. So I'm a little nervous, or favorite sport, just because I've always loved it from a kid. So I'm just a little nervous that it's gonna end this weekend if something goes wrong. So I'm holding out hope that we can get through it. I would hate for it to end. So hopefully that's the case.
It's going to be done by I would say, September. I think it's going to be canceled.
That would suck.
Season's almost over.
I'd be like that would, or just have a tournament between like just do your MLB, like just do your top 8 markets and just have them play.
I think football.
And the Giants will make it.
Yes, they will.
I even think NCAA football and NFL is going to be canceled.
Yeah, the NFL has to revisit their plan after watching this go down.
Let's get into the NFL about that. Tyler, good transition. You're very good at this right now. NFL,
Casey brought up the NFL.
Okay, Casey brought it up. You then brought up the bubble part of it. So, Casey, thank you.
I'll give credit where credit is due.
I don't want to forget any. I don't want to give anybody's. I want to hurt anybody's feelings. This era.
Tyler, my boy.
2020. We don't want to hurt feelings.
I'll send him my love. He's always got good knowledge. He knows what he's talking about.
Frankie apparently liked your stat knowledge out there, so we gotta keep bringing the stats a little bit. You gotta keep the young man. You gotta keep him watching.
He's talking.
No, you.
Tyler, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Tyler. Bubbles. NFL. Tyler, you brought up a good point about that, though. The NFL's got to be watching the MLB a little bit as their guinea pig a little bit and saying, there's no way. I don't think they're going to do a bubble either, the NFL.
No, you can't with the NFL.
No, you just have way too many players. You have too many cheerleaders. You can't be doing that type of stuff.
You can get rid of cheerleaders, hopefully. That's not.
Maybe they'll do male cheerleaders this year.
You don't even have fans. We need cheerleaders.
Longest yard, lone players.
How's Tio going to celebrate with pom-poms if there's no cheerleaders?
Maybe Tracy Morris out the crew.
Yeah, they got the guys out there that aren't playing or the cheerleaders. The guys that are on the aisle out there.
I think they
I'll
quit.
meet you later. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they quit. They want to. all right, so they're going to travel. They have more players than even MLB. So they're at even a higher risk, you would think, right?
Probably lower. Never mind. I'm not going to say that. Continue.
But more executed. NFL is a little bit more – they just seem to execute things a little bit better in this regard than I would think MLB would. Like in terms of like I've already heard Roger Goodell throw out stuff like guys we're going to have to develop a system where they get fined more, if they're making poor choices and going out in public, stuff like that to keep them more.
It's not a good look for
accountable.
him though, kind of.
It's
like,
not.
by
But
the
he's
players.
I think he's.
It is, but it
alive.
isn't at the same time.
But if you're a player that actually wants to get paid, you probably also realize that you don't want guys, messing up your season either, right? So. And there's guys that this year, if they don't get this season in, they're not free agents next year. So everybody has their own agenda, I guess, in some ways going into it. So I'm curious to see how the NFL executes it. And there's no way the season ain't starting. So we know that's happening. So it's just a matter of fact of how they're going to get it done.
If they can get through training camp.
Yeah.
True. We'll see what happens. That's starting, right? Training camp?
I think they're just doing testing right now, but it's sometimes soon.
To me, like I was listening to Bob Costas and
good man.
Yeah, no, very intelligent. I didn't realize. So with this
Bob hates everyone I love. Anyway, carry on.
With this virus going on, there's a lot of different implements to it. Diabetes and all that. Well, the NFL consists of 70% technically obese.
Is it true? Is that considering coaching staffs?
I don't know about that. It might be.
That would bring the number up.
I love it. There's a lot of coaches that are obese, but I'm just saying, not like fat or anything, but by definition.
Yeah, no, I got you. The offensive lineman alone in the league, and defensive lineman do a thing.
The virus, they say contracts easier with people that are overweight, lungs.
But it does help younger people. Don't seem to they won't probably affect. But they'll probably pass it on to the coaches that are like the older ones, and they'll be the ones that end up getting the harsher repercussions of the virus than the actual players, more likely. But yeah, that's a good point actually.
Because they're all.
I didn't think about that.
Because you think about it now, how many players are 250 pounds or more, or 300?
Probably 85% of the league.
Exactly.
Everyone who's not a receiver, running back, and corner or cornerback or safety.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I hear you. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. But yeah, that'll be good. It'll be interesting to see how the NFL gets it done. Tyler, what are your thoughts on them executing it? You think that they'll be able to pull it off? How do you think they're going to be? Do you think Goodell will just be pretty strict about it? You think the players will just be better about it?
I don't give NFL players any. I think most of them are not. I don't know. I don't think it'll go very well.
They can't even do it.
I saw a video of last week, Tyreek Hill's working out with 10 guys face to. Yeah, you're right. It is what it is. It's something. So I wanted to get into a little NFL news though. You guys saw that Jamal Adams trade from the Jets to the Seahawks for 2 first-round picks?
Seahawks always make these moves. I don't know how they did it with Percy Harvin, Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah.
Do you think it was too many picks though, or not really? Too good of a player?
It seems like a lot, but I don't know. But I mean, if they win, they win. They're going to be good. So
who's the other safety? They had Chancellor, and who was the other one? Thomas, right?
Thomas.
Yeah, and they're both obviously.
They traded the other.
Thomas is on the Ravens.
Yeah.
Douglas or McDouglas or something like that, or
McDougal.
McDougal, thank you.
I kind of feel
he's on the Jets.
No.
Pete Carroll was a safety in college, and I think he's always had a fascination with that position. So I think that's why he always has if you look at his history of his teams, he always has really good safeties, even going back to college. Obviously, USC.
Yeah, USC. He signed a San Rosa JC player, Scott Ware.
Yeah. But I mean, but if you look at the safeties Pete Carroll head coached and recruited at USC, he's got I think you probably look at the last 20 years, he easily has the best safety core of anybody out there. You're looking at Troy
in
Polamalu,
college or in the NFL?
Both. Combine them all. Troy Polamalu.
Who other than Polamalu?
Earl Thomas.
Well, he went to Texas.
I don't know what we're talking about.
I thought you were talking NFL, both. I thought you were talking.
He's had some pretty – I just think he has a fascination with that position a little bit. I think he's got –
Yeah, Taylor Mays was
a
a bust in the NFL.
But he was pretty good in college. I'm just saying he kind of has a way of like coaching him pretty well. I'm not saying
he was a great defensive coach.
Yeah, he is, and I think because that's his position, just like I think Kyle Shanahan was a receiver at Texas, he has kind of a fascination with like routes and all his little mumbo jumbo and stuff like that. So I think that's a correlation to those things. But overall, back to Adams, do you guys see this really helping the Seahawks put them over the top in that division?
I mean, I think they could have won it without him, and I think they can win it with him. They're going to be better in the deep, I imagine. I don't know. I didn't watch enough Jets games. I know he's very good, and like his highlight reel is nice. But like I don't watch Jets every day to know like the impact he has on like down to down football. Like I think he's good. I know he's good. Just the way people talk about him. But
yeah, no, I think the thing with the Seahawks is they lost that ability to cover the deep ball a little bit last year, and then have the safety. They like that safety that can come up and hit, and he'll be the one that can do that again. So I don't know, Casey, you have any thoughts on that trade? How it will affect the Seahawks or Niners? Because it was a 1 yard division last year, so they're right there. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna expand a little bit more, but the Jets are they're a shit show, man. I mean, Woody Johnson, their owners, and like they got so many things. I mean, when's the last time they've been relevant? Chad Pennington. I mean,
before.
What about Brett Favre?
The 2 year run. When did the last time the Jets make the playoffs? They probably had to make it.
No, they made it recently.
Yeah, like they made it at some point. I just can't think who was there when they did it.
And the quarterback.
Yeah, who's the quarterback they had after
Mark Sanchez.
Yeah,
I don't think they won one. I don't think they've been in the playoffs since then.
With Rex Wright, though, they ain't going nowhere with that.
They did make it 2 AFC championship games.
Yeah, but I mean, realistically,
Faith was like, I forgot about
what do you mean realistically?
I forgot about that part.
I mean, just the fall off. Like, okay.
It's better than a lot of teams.
The Jets are poorly run, though. That's Casey's point.
Yes, I agree there.
The Jets are a horrible franchise. I agree.
So,
we're there.
to me, I mean, in this case, it's a win-win, but, I mean, would you rather take the guarantee knowing you got a great player or 3 picks that, flip the coin and you don't know what you're going to get?
If I was in the Seahawks position, I would do what they did.
I thought the point of taking a first-round pick was to get a great player. They got a great player. Then they don't want to.
I agree.
Well, he didn't want to be there either. It wasn't like they just wanted to get rid of him.
Yeah, he wasn't liking the Jets very much for probably the reasons you were saying, Case.
You show him the cash, I mean, it's a different subject.
Yeah. So you think it will put them over the top against the Niners? Put the division winners?
Me?
Absolutely.
I think the Cardinals are the second best team in the division.
Ooh, the Cards. Little sneaky prediction there. Oakland A's prospect Kyler Murray leading the way.
Gotta hurt.
That does hurt a little.
You're kind of going on a cliff on that, aren't you?
I am going on a little bit of a cliff there.
Kingsbury?
Kingsbury right there. Ooh, I like that.
Well done.
There. Hey, did you guys check out any of the NBA games a little bit? I watched a very little bit of the Jazz Pelicans game, and I watched a little bit of the Lakers Clippers game. I get up early, so I pulled a Tony Kornheiser and went to bed before the game finished. But I did wake up enough to see the highlights a little bit there. Any initial thoughts on the first? You watch any of those games?
Yeah. You brought up the Pelicans. I don't get the Zion minute limit thing. It's been how many months since he's like I get it. Right away, but like
but he's not.
You have a 3-month break. Well, he might not be in his prime, but he's in his physical. He's fine.
It's insane.
Yeah, you don't play him the last 7 minutes.
Like he played 15 minutes the whole game.
I know, but they didn't play him the last 7.
Yeah.
If you're going to play him at the end.
You trying to not make the playoffs? I mean, you needed that game. What are you doing?
I don't know. He had 0 rebounds in 15 minutes, by the way. That's
not Zion. Like
the best player in the game was J.J. Redick.
Redick?
No doubt. I was like, man, like if there's someone that came out of like, I mean, veterans, obviously they've been through the process, but I'm like looking at him like, it looks like he didn't even miss a beat. Like he's like willing his team, and I'm like,
Redick's a good player. He's
No,
really good. He's really good.
He has a
very
good podcast too.
He does. Like and subscribe, JJ. Like and subscribe.
I just don't get it. Like, I just don't get this crap with people. I mean,
But the game, that's what we're talking about. Go back to the game. Pelicans Jazz. What did you think?
But I mean, I just don't understand like Tyler. It is regarding the game. Why don't you play Zion at the last 7? Play him the first
I don't
7,
understand.
middle 5, and last 7.
Yeah.
Not even the last 7, at least the last 3 or 2 or something.
He looks pissed on the bench. Like,
He was. I heard after
Sure
the
he
game,
is.
was ticked. Chris Haynes, who was like, he was like one of the 2 reporters in the bubble, was like, yeah, he was pretty fired up. But I think we all would be pretty fired up for playing 15 minutes.
Could you imagine him being
the best player on the team, probably?
Could you imagine him being a
coach?
UFC heavyweight?
What do you mean?
Like trained his whole life? Just how big, like his body, like he's a monster.
I mean, I don't understand the plan with him. I think that's the thing is like, if you're not going to play him in that situation, when, like, was it next year, the year you let it go? Like, I don't know. I'm confused on it, I guess.
I just don't get it. It's NBA
it makes it.
Oh man, like I played through injuries. I'm not saying I'm not even close to that.
Yeah, but you're not $100 million asset.
No, I know.
No one cares if you play through it. No offense.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Like,
but I'm saying if you're him, like at some point you're a human being. Like we all go to work. You know, you got to do. I mean, he's getting paid.
Yes, I agree.
But he's still getting paid.
Man. Not his fault. Just freaking let him play, dude.
Yeah, that was frustrating.
To do.
I mean, I agree he should have played.
Duke let him play after he freaking had the injury and wasn't even getting paid.
Yeah, but Duke doesn't have anything to lose.
Yeah, I was going to say, what a shock.
Exactly.
Basketball letting that.
Yeah, Duke has nothing to lose. Their investment leaving in 2 days or whenever you lose.
I'm gonna start the chant "Free Zion, free Zion, free
let
Zion,
him play. Let him play.
Zion,
let him play, Gentry. Let him play. I guarantee he plays more than 15 minutes the next game. Hey,
I did too.
A couple other things. The one thing I did notice, just reading through kind of,
and
some
I guarantee
of the stuff,
that wasn't an Alvin Gentry decision.
No, of course not. That was a what's the GM David Griffin thing, probably. The other thing with the NBA that I saw was Harden last night went to overtime. They beat the Mavericks 153, 140 died. 21 free throws shot by James Harden.
I thought maybe no fans would affect the refs a little bit.
They're calling more fouls.
It's
Their
crazy.
fouls are up by 10, like almost 6 a game. Do you think it's because they can hear more?
Score and it looked like a lot of maybe. It looked like everyone had 4 or 5 fouls. I was like, what the heck's going on here?
I was wondering what the reason for that would be.
You wonder why Tony's not a good ref in Windsor.
Yeah, for sure.
You threw a ball at his head.
Yeah.
I didn't throw the ball.
You definitely threw the ball, maybe not at his head.
No,
you were like Joe Kelly. You threw it at.
You're like Joe Kelly.
His head.
Threw it over his head.
You looked at me, made eye contact. You throw it toward the guy. He looks away. It looks worse than it is.
I'm kind of with Keith.
You did throw it
Tyler.
fast.
He should have caught it. No, he should have caught it.
I was hoping you hit him in the head. I didn't want to catch it.
I would too.
I thought it was a simple.
Like, damn, I missed him, and then he threw me out. I was like, man, no, like
game's
like,
over.
Scott,
game's
Foster,
over.
Let it go.
Scott Foster. You're like, let it go. So yeah, that kind of frustrated me. The foul shots. I saw the Grizzlies and Blazers shot 80+ free throws.
Harden,
he looked unreal.
He looked quick. I was like, man, I haven't
he lost
maybe that loss,
pounds, right?
Weight loss. I was
he had 23 points in the first quarter.
Crazy. I mean, the one. You know
he
how
could be so good, like exciting to watch, and he just isn't. Like it's weird.
Did you see that sick in between?
It's because the game is repetitive.
Did you see that sick in between the leg pass he had? Like
that was dope.
Yeah, Tyler, you bring up a good point about Harden. Keith, I'll get your point on it too. But now that you said it, Tyler, it made me think like he's got to be one of the more. I think we all can admit he's one of the best players that we'll probably see. Like
he's
scoring
unreal offensively.
But you're right, and not either. I don't. This isn't about appreciating him and not thinking he's good and he makes unreal plays. But you're right. There is something about him that isn't enjoyable at moments, even though he's so great. It's a weird combination that you can have that kind of feel with him, and I think it's partially due to the free throw thing. I think people get sick and tired of that stuff a little bit. And, I think that's the main thing. I think the traveling that he gets away with sometimes. But at the end of the day,
I think it's just
that stuff. He's obviously unreal.
He doesn't he never doesn't have the ball. And if he doesn't work hard to they never run anything for him off the ball.
Yeah.
Which he could probably do very well. I don't know if he doesn't want to work that hard off the ball. Like he just is like, let me just break this guy down with a pick and roll or isolation.
Yeah.
Because that's all it is him up, or they give it to Westbrook like on a half fast, like a kind of semi-fast break, and he'll do something. And
and the thing with him too is he's so unstoppable one-on-one. I mean, there's not one single player that can guard him in the whole league.
No.
I mean, I think Klay Thompson is the only person that does a decent job on him. And Klay just, I think, wears him down. I don't even necessarily think he always stops him. But, I mean, they've played a lot of games over the years, so I have seen Klay, at times D him up pretty well. But
still probably scores 30 a game.
I don't know. What do you think, Case, about Harden there?
I think he's probably one of the most underrated offensive players that will ever play the game. And I don't like the style, how he gets to the, the free throws, but it's part of the game, man. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
It's like, to me, this is my analysis. It's like Floyd Mayweather. Like, you hate watching him, but he's always going to get his points. It doesn't matter. He's just going to do what he wants to do. And the way he moves, he's even incorporated moves that the NBA had to adjust to, the sidestep three. Like,
Yeah.
But they're all within the rules. And so he, took that language and just made it into his own. And I respect the hell out of his game. I think it's good for basketball because I think it's created not only just excitement, but hatred, which is everyone wants good and evil, You just want someone that you hate. I mean, I love one of my favorite quotes in talking about no fans earlier, when he goes to the line and then the fans are yelling at him. He's like, man, you're going to the free throw line. That hurt foul. This is wasting my time. And he goes, quit fouling so fucking much. That was a fucking foul.
The thing with them hearing, man, you can hear it so well. It's unbelievable. Casey, that part about tied with the Harden too is, I think the reason a lot of people, what you're saying, don't like it, he just had a way of, he kind of.
I didn't say don't like. He's just
his game sometimes I don't want to
watch it.
Well, because he kind of has this way of manipulating the refs a little bit. Like if we play, honestly,
he manipulates everything. He manipulates fouls. He manipulates the rules.
So I think that's just
he's clever, but I give him credit for it.
He's unreal at it. Yeah, he's unreal. He's the best ever to do it. To be able to draw fouls.
I'm not saying best ever anything, but
he's perfected. I don't know anybody else that's perfected the way he has getting to the foul line. The man knows how to get to the foul line. If you know how to get to the foul line at an average of 16 times a game,
Is that how many times he averages?
So, yeah, he's had seasons like that.
That's like gross. Makes me want to puke.
I think we've
not sick and good.
We probably went 5 years of doing rec ball, and I don't even know if I've ever shot 16 free throws in 5 years.
so now you know why Mark Cuban got so pissed when Dwayne Wade averaged those.
Oh yeah, it's frustrating to watch too. You're like
in the final,
it's not even a foul. It's not even a foul, man. It's not even a foul. Oh man, that's the tough one with me. I wanted to, before we move on or get close to ending here, I wanted to get your guys' touch on a few Warriors things. Did you guys see the Bahami Jones comments on Curry? Bomani, thank you.
Bomani.
If he texts for sure.
Names. I love it. Bomani.
If the name is not Will and Smith, I don't know what it is. I don't know how to say anything. I know how to say John too. That's a good one for me. I can say that.
Or you for 10 minutes.
I'm gonna bring up another name here with a surprise. We're gonna do a surprise segment here. I'm gonna surprise you guys with, and we'll see if I butcher this guy's name again.
Hold on, what happened to Bomani?
Well, I am gonna get to it here. I said when I do. Okay. See if I butcher his name as well. All right. So I'm not gonna read the whole quote. It'll take too long. But the main thing he says is, my only problem with Steph though is you know me and what I care about. This is him saying what he cares about in a basketball player when it comes to – he's referring to like a –
This is the only thing he cares about?
Referring to it – I should set up the thing better. So he's talking about referring to an end-of-the-game situation, okay? So when you need a basket, all right? So if you need a basket in the game with the ball, get it with the clock getting down to the end here. All right, my only problem with Steph, though, is you know me and what I care about is there's a big problem getting his own shot. He can get his own shot if he shoots it from 40 coming across the line. He's got a sick handle and all that stuff. There's something different. It's hard to explain. What is it with Steph? But Steph is somehow like the greatest system player of all time. And I'm not saying that to shade him, but if you're not going 1-4 flat and being like, get us a basket, Steph. So the comments that kind of blew my mind a little bit were there where it was said that when he was said
system player.
He's the all-time greatest system player, but if you're going 1-4, if you go 1-4 flat, he can't get us a basket. I'm like, you obviously haven't watched as many Warriors games as we have watched of it because, come on, we've seen many examples of the Warriors going 1-4 flat. A, with him winning a game on it. B, you know what I mean? Like,
it's all Mark Jackson ran.
Yeah, I mean that's that, or they run pick and roll and they just get a switch and he goes 1-on-1. It's like you want me to show. I really just want to like send him the video of the Warriors 2013 playoff against the Spurs where he just lit them up in game 1. Remember that where he just like on fire, just roasting and they lost the game.
When Kawhi got hurt, or different game?
No, the one where Ginobili beat the Warriors. This is when they had Jared Jack and all that.
Okay.
Bringing up old news and bad news, but yeah. No,
but that's my example. That's 1-on-1. So I don't know. It pissed me off a little bit. What do you think?
He's done a ton of stuff. I mean, but Monty Jones is like obviously a highly respected ESPN, and he's super intelligent. But like you said, I don't think he's ever watched the Warriors like we have, or for that.
He's a
matter.
Grizzlies fan.
I don't think he's probably watched on record. I'm going to say this out loud to him. I don't think he's ever watched more than 50 games of the Warriors
in the regular season because he's probably watched postseason.
Full no. I mean full games.
Okay. All right.
Full games. And so when you watch someone and you see what they do, and then he, like what you're speaking on, the 1-4 flat, that's all he did with Mark Jackson. Like that's the whole game he had. I mean, watch the Knicks game.
Yeah.
Just watch the game. You're telling me he can't win okay, I get where like he might be coming on the NBA Finals. He's shown up a little short in that. I'm not going to lie. He's come up short in that, winning shots and this. He can get his own shot. He's done it time and time again. I mean, how do you have 3 rings without doing that? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I'm like that. 3 rings, end of conversation. Two-time MVP, first unanimous. Like, get the hell out of here with that comment.
Yeah. Tyler, what do you think?
I don't disagree as much as you guys disagree.
What do you kind of agree with?
Steph's a great, unreal player. Unreal. But he's not elite getting his own shot. Like, you don't want him, like, on your last shot, you don't want to – you don't want to take him – like, what helps him is you have to guard from 30 feet out.
Mm-hmm.
And so last second shot, they're basically going to, well, that's the last second shot. We'll like try and get a hand a little, like Lillard did the George in the finals. He hit it, but like, I don't think he's as good as Irving getting his own shot or Lillard. He's better players than both of those guys.
Yeah, and you can say a select few players, but he didn't say it like that. But when you're saying
I think that's what he obviously doesn't think he sucks or he's like.
Yeah, but if you're going top 10 guys to go 1-on-1, he's going to be in the top 10. I mean, the man. What do you mean he doesn't go 1-on-1? I mean, maybe he's like Kawhi Leonard. He can go. I'm like, if he goes 1-on-1, it could be from 30 feet. But how many times does he get to the hoop? He gets to the hoop all the time. I mean, I get what he's saying. Like, he's not Kevin Durant. He's not LeBron James. He's not a physical freak. But if you have the best shooter on the planet, you're probably gonna want him to take a 1-on-1 shot. I think I get what your point is, Tyler. Like maybe he didn't quite say it quite that way, but. And
when you told me what we were talking about, I read the quote and said he's like top 4 point guard. Like he's not on Irving or Lillard's
one-on-one level. It just doesn't make sense. So
I agree with
I don't know.
that,
I just thought
though.
it.
To me, my top 6 one-on-one players.
So you think Lillard and them are better at one-on-one?
No, not better.
Yeah.
At getting the last second shot, yes. Maybe not making the shot, but getting to the shot.
Interesting.
My top 6 players, real quick: LeBron, Giannis, AD, Steph, Lillard, Westbrook.
What was that list?
Durant when he's back, right?
Yeah, when he's healthy. I would put Durant probably number 1 right now, or number 2. I put him number 2.
Yeah, you can't put him ahead of the greatest player of all time, but number 2,
No,
I would say you can't do that.
I'd put him 1.
Yeah, I don't. I think Steph. He struggles at times one-on-one getting his own shot. But I think a lot of people look back at that Kevin Love play and they say, "Oh." But I think you got to be fair. That was one play, and he was
the biggest play of his
100%
career.
and he wasn't 100% at the time. I don't know if I would say the biggest play of his career.
What do you mean? If he hits that shot, it's the biggest play of his career.
Yeah, if he hits the shot. But if he would have hit last year's shot to win the game, it would have been the biggest shot of his career in Game 6.
It wouldn't have been as big as that shot.
He would have hit it up, and then would have gone to a game. We would have gone to
7.
a game.
That would have won the game. Won Game 7. That would have been a bigger shot.
Not necessarily. There's
What do
still
you mean not
45 seconds
you
left in
can't
the
be bigger
game.
than hitting
There would
a
have been
Game
45
7
seconds
shot.
left in
Yeah,
the
but
game.
he hit the shot. No, there was less than 45
It would
seconds.
have tied the game. It wouldn't have won it. It would have tied.
Pretty. Irving had already hit it with like 50 seconds left.
And then there was a couple possessions after that.
Yeah, but you said to win the game.
Yeah, it would have won the game.
No, they lost. They were up by 3.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's why I was.
No, because they could have taken a 2.
No, they couldn't have.
I think so. Are
I'm
you
100%.
positive?
I'm
Okay.
100%.
I'll concede, but we'll find
No,
out.
you're not. You're going to watch the video after this is over. Don't lie to us. You're going
I'm going to look it up as soon as this is over to find out if I'm wrong. But I don't think I'm wrong.
I was trying so hard.
He is right. He is going to text us, everybody, within 3 minutes of us getting off this about the results of that. So, Casey,
First thing I do.
I do. Drink a cold glass of chocolate milk.
I'm pretty. The other thing too was with the comment too. It just kind of brings to the point overall with Steph Curry that he's going to have to get over, and that's the perception. If you haven't watched him locally, is he has a lot of people do feel like because of sometimes his playoff moments that he hasn't had like that massive finals like one-on-one I guess moment enough where people have been able to stand out. So I get what he's saying in the system player. I get it. Because like you said, Casey, he's a respected
That's
journalist.
the thing that bugs me the most is the system player comment.
Yeah, but I think I understand, like you were saying with this comment, what he was probably trying to say with that. But it didn't make sense, and it just made me realize, like, it made me think back to his old radio show he used to have when he was because he's a Grizzlies fan, like I used to say. So I know he has a little iffy stuff towards Steph anyways because of when the Warriors beat the Grizzlies. Just to remind you, Jones. So I don't know. I thought there was kind of an interesting comment, and just kind of the disrespect Steph gets at times is kind of funny. I feel like so.
It's crazy.
It's kind of insane to me at times.
Like just because he didn't Finals MVP doesn't mean he's trash. I mean,
he should have won it the year Iguodala got it, but it is what it is.
It's optics.
I agree.
Well, he stopped LeBron. Wait, he stopped LeBron over 25 points again. Like, come on, get the hell.
Yeah, I know exactly. It's like Iguodala was wide open because he was triple teamed. there's a big reason he kudos to Iguodala of course for hitting those shots, but I'm with you on that one for sure. I also wanted to get on to one last thing on you guys before we maybe get out of here was the UFC finally set a fight with Khabib again versus Gaethje. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Impressive. Yes,
Don't
I got it right that time.
There's Khabib. Don't pronounce the K.
Okay, so I got that part wrong. So 1 for 2 again.
No, there's a K.
It is Khabib, I thought.
It is Khabib. It's not Habib.
Yeah.
Habib. Hey, Habib.
Yeah, I was like, you're right. It is Khabib. That's funny. All right, so we got Khabib Gaethje set for I believe October. We're starting to get into the UFC a little bit more. Just brief little talk on it. To me, that just seems like an easy fight, easy win for Khabib. I know Gaethje can punch like crazy and stuff like that, but it just seems like the wrestler always wins. And I don't know. I know Gaethje's
an all-world wrestler, though.
I realize that, but this guy isn't. This guy all time.
He wrestles bears.
Yeah. You win. You really win. No, Tyler, your thoughts on that fight?
I mean, Khabib is unbelievable.
He said he's fighting 2 more times. So this
he's
one,
boring as all get up. Hopefully Gaethje can keep it on his feet, and if he can, then he's got a shot.
Isn't Gaethje's thing is he throws really hard punches, so
yeah,
we'll see what happens with it.
They used to call him Homer Simpson because he lost a couple fights that were real exciting, like the Eddie Alvarez was one of them, and can't think of the other guy right now, but
yeah,
they just went blow for blow. They're all messed up, and he ended up losing that fight, but he can throw some
the
bombs.
Ferguson fight was great because of that, but Khabib's not going to fight like that. I know, Casey, you had that bad experience with McGregor there, so I would not recommend you buy this fight either because he's going to probably do the same thing over and over again. So that's probably exactly what's going to happen again. Casey, I want to get your boxing thoughts on Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. or the one I'm maybe more fascinated by getting the results is Nate Robinson versus
Jake Paul. Jake Paul.
I feel like Nate Robinson is going to destroy that guy.
No, Jake Paul is going to kill him.
Is he?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Jake Paul's been boxing for
feisty.
2 years. I don't think Nate Robinson's ever fought.
Nate Robinson just seems like he go crazy at times.
Yeah, but that's not what boxing is. You got to be calculated.
Got to be precise, calculated with it. Case, your thoughts of the old men getting in the ring?
I love it, man. Yeah, more fights the better. It's not
you gonna buy the pay-per-view, you think?
Hell no.
You have to buy some crazy app. Like Zinger or
the last fight I watched and I paid for was Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. And then
horrible.
Well, yeah, but then like 3 months later, COVID happens. They play it like 7 times on regular cable. I'm like, man, this is BS.
Yeah, but nothing's like watching it live.
That's
true. I mean, I get
what?
it.
How could you disagree?
I mean, I'd rather watch it live. Wouldn't you, the fight?
Just ignore the news. Just ignore the news for 3 months and you'll get it live.
Well, yeah, I guess if you can do that, yes. If you go on a boat trip or something, that would be. Yeah, I heard a crazy story I wanted to tell you guys before we got. I heard Casey kind of set me up for it. Was this guy? He left from British Columbia, Canada, about 10 months ago, and he sailed around the world, and he had no contact with anybody, and he came back to his family, and he's like, "So what did I miss?" Quite a bit, buddy. Quite a bit. So he's I thought that was kind of a funny story. Like I didn't even think about that concept. Like, yeah, that would be crazy to think like that you're just like gone.
How long was he gone for?
9 months. So he's gone like sailing and then comes back and he's like, I just that idea of like, my life. I'd rather probably go back sailing again.
Yeah. Let me go by myself.
Quick short story. I didn't work for like almost a year, and I get do my thing, come back, and I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm like, yesterday, I'm like, oh yeah, so we got the day off, and he's like, no, what are you talking about? I'm like, in my head, I'm like, look at me like I'm crazy. I get home, I talk to Darren's wife, I'm like, yeah, I gotta work tomorrow, I guess, and she's like, well, it's Friday. It's like, today's Friday. I was like, I didn't even know what month it was. I didn't even know what day it was. I was like, man, this is stupid.
Well, you're back working again, so that's throwing you off a little bit or something. Is that what you meant by that?
Yeah, I woke up to the alarm clock, and I'm like, God, man, I gotta go to work. And I was like, oh yeah, we're doing the podcast.
That is work, baby. This is love. This is real.
I love work,
good.
But it's just like so funny how your mind just like.
I know it goes like different directions at times, especially when you're getting up early.
Why the hell did the alarm clock go off? Like, do I got to do this? Oh man, I got to get breakfast and all that. And I'm like, oh yeah, we're cool, we're good. It's Saturday. I couldn't even imagine 9 months though. I'd be like, man, is it Christmas? Like,
like just no contact with people.
Yeah, that would be kind of crazy if you didn't have any idea of it. Yeah, I've thought about that concept. What if you didn't have any idea of like a calendar or time? You just gotta live by sunlight. How different like the world, things would be in your mind.
Just the stars.
All right, so
it's just really weird.
Exactly. All right, but sundown. So hey, that was fun doing that one. Case, glad you could join us again back this week, man. It was fun. Tyler, that was good. What are you
It was
looking
a
forward to
pleasure.
this weekend, Tyler? Any event, any game, anything particular? I'm just looking forward to chilling out this weekend and watching NBA and MLB for the first time in a
Yeah,
while.
just watching
No,
Soccer.
the NBA and
soccer, earthquakes, top 8, bottom 8. Let's go, people. Come on, get behind it. Let's go. Let's go. I want those earthquake followers. Let's go. We know we're going to start promoting you. I got my Twitter feed up, so we'll start going there with it. That's good. All right, guys. That was good. I enjoyed the show. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.